Jimmy Smith with us today. Let's get right into it because you don't need an introduction. Everybody knows who you are. Did you watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
No. I did not get a chance to, but I've heard plenty of
what you hear
quotes, and I just kind of heard that Michael Jordan was a supreme dick.
I mean, isn't that what it takes, though? In your opinion,
I think to be great, yeah, but
he was beyond great. He was like he's the bar.
Okay, look, is LeBron considered the best? Is he a complete asshole to people?
Yeah, but I think LeBron is kind of like the people's meaning the players champ. So he's the one that went to bat for like the new contract model, and Jordan was more about the league, and he helped the league grow more. You can't argue that the league grew internationally under MJ, and it's kind of done a little slowdown under LeBron's watch. People are disgusted with all the player movement.
Well,
you can't buy a jersey
dream
anymore.
Teams, you mean?
Not just that, but like you can't buy a jersey anymore if you're a fan because they're signing these 2-year deals. Like if you had a KD OKC jersey, now you got to get a KD Golden State jersey, and now you're gonna get a KD Brooklyn jersey.
Yeah, I mean that definitely does change everything. But
supposedly he punched out Steve Kerr, so I'm wondering if they're going to show that.
That's like the number one story you always hear. But the funniest story I ever heard was the one with Chameleonaire.
What's that? Nah.
Oh, so I guess Chameleonaire ends up meeting this guy, Michael Jordan, and basically he talks about how he was nervous. He really built up enough courage to go finally say what's up to Chameleonaire, and he gets up to him, and Michael Jordan looks at him. He tells him all a big fan and all this. And Michael Jordan looks at him like, get the fuck out of my face. And meant it. And he Chameleonaire is telling you how shocked he was. You have to Google the story. It's hilarious.
There's a scene in the documentary where this dude, you can hear his heart break because he goes up to MJ before MJ goes out for an appearance. He's like a producer or something, and he had a piece of paper, and he's like, "Can you sign this?" And he's like, and MJ looked at the guy, the middle guy, the handler. He's like, and the guy's like, and walks away.
Man,
actually, it's funny. Jared Jeffries, he's a buddy of ours. He played with MJ for the Wizards, so they've stayed in contact. Right. Make a long story short. One of our boys gets to go on MJ's boat recently, and he had an Under Armour shirt on. So he's getting ready to go on the boat, and MJ's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, I'm with Jared. And he's like, "Not with that shirt." He made him go to the store and find a Nike shirt.
That's not so bad, though.
Yeah, well,
that's not so bad, hopefully. But I couldn't imagine finally getting a chance to meet Michael Jordan in that moment, building up enough courage. Because I remember meeting Jason Kidd when I was 9 years old. He was up in Sonoma playing basketball in the gym. And I was terrified to meet him. I knew exactly who he was, but I was terrified to go in there and finally go ask for his autograph. So I begged my brother to go do it. And he ended up coming back and writing something on the paper to make it seem like he did. But anyway, I ended up finally going in there and meet him. And he was nice, dope dude. But I couldn't imagine if I were to finally go meet, Deion Sanders or somebody like that. And they're like, "Man, get the hell out of my face."
I think Torrey's got a story like that with Joe Theismann. Wow. And that's why Torrey hates the Redskins so much. Because when he was a kid, he asked Theismann for an autograph and he wouldn't give it.
Yeah.
So that's why Torrey grew up hating the Redskins.
Yeah. That's lasting on a kid, man.
I saw Jordan a couple times in Carolina, but I never wanted to walk up to him. I want to be that dude,
Not with those stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna be that
guy. I guess he accomplished his mission. Yeah. One time I saw him and Charles Barkley smoking cigars at a little bar in Carolina, and they were like, "You can't go in there." Everybody, it's not official, but it's you gotta leave them alone because it's not gonna happen. Yeah. It's all these college bars, and then there's this cigar lounge, I guess, in the middle of them, and nobody bothers going in there because they already know it's not happening.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't imagine that, man. But honestly, I'd still like to meet him. Why not?
They say never meet your idols. Did you vote on the new CBA?
I did vote. I voted no, but not all the way entirely sure. I don't know if I got my facts straight on it. I mean, it was kind of confusing. A
lot of guys didn't vote, right?
Like a third, I heard.
Isn't that crazy to you?
But I mean, it seemed like it was going to get passed anyway, but there was nothing really that stuck out. They want to change the games, the playoff, the preseason. But I mean, I'm not sure, so don't even quote it on it, but I think it was something to do with when the money gets dispersed and all that is why a lot of people wanted to vote now.
Are they taking better care of the veterans under this one? Or less?
Pretty much the same.
Weed is legal now.
Weed is which it
always should have been.
You can't be suspended now for it.
So can you get fined?
I don't know how clear that was. I don't know what it means, but yeah, I mean, how many people
I mean, can you get fined for it still?
That's what I'm assuming.
It's crazy, though. You can do pills, but you can't do weed, right?
No, you can force us to, not force us, but you can give us Toradol because we need to play these games and stuff. We have to sign a permission slip to take Toradol now. It used to they just give it to us before for years. And now all of a sudden, we have to sign a permission slip. So, I mean, people that do like to do the natural way of, healing their bodies with inflammation and all that, and they decide to do that, I feel like it should be a free choice. It's not like going out, getting high and crashing your car and doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. I told this story when Tori was on here. When I blew my knee out, Anquan came up to me. He said, "Don't you dare take a pill. They're going to load you up with pills. Don't you take any of them." And I was like, man, I can't even feel my face right now.
I remember.
I got to take something. And a couple other dudes were like, well, listen to Anquan, man. He's different. Just, lay off of them after like 3 or 4 days. But you got to take him for like the first day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he's never taken a pill ever in his life, including the time he broke his jaw.
That's crazy.
But he's just a different guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I tore my Achilles was probably the most like pain with that and my wisdom teeth. That was like the most. But I physically can't stomach Percocets. So I take the lightest pain pill, but I start taking CBD a few years ago, and I think that really does.
Really?
I do.
I got a really
medical strength CBD, not like the stuff you buy in these smoke shops they're trying to push on. No,
right.
Real CBD really does work.
Really? I have a friend from the West Coast, and he sends me an Instagram post today about CBD and the health benefits.
It works. It works.
Really?
Surprisingly, it works. That's what works for you. When people that say that I'm getting pain relief, it's not the THC, because THC is it's the psycho part. So it's the CBD that's making you feel better, your body feel better. It's not the THC part.
You know who's a really big proponent of that is Eugene Monroe.
Exactly. That's what told me about a lot of it.
He's got in ridiculous shape since he retired, huh?
Oh, yeah. He looks more like a freaking tight end.
No, he looks like a bodybuilder. A lot of the linemen, when they leave the league, they lose weight and they kind of look like unhealthy almost.
All of them.
But he looks like a pro wrestler now. It's crazy.
Yeah, but he was always into that, though. He has a nice little gym downstairs. He really gets it in.
I'm friends with him on Peloton. He's way up there. He's top 1% every time.
Yeah, I follow him on Snapchat for a while, and he's always been getting it in.
How good of a job did Wink do last year? You're not going to say it, so I'll say it. I mean, that front seven was suspect at best, and I think any casual fan can see that the office saw that and try to bring in, everybody they could to fill those gaps up. But I mean, you gotta love playing for the guy. From what we can see, he's definitely a player's coach, right?
Absolutely.
But schematically, the guy's got to be like genius level.
He's aggressive. He's an aggressive-minded coach that trusts in his players. He knows our strengths and our weaknesses. He really takes the time out to talk to all of his players, so you know what he's thinking. You know what kind of game plan we're going into every week. He makes sure he takes the time out every week to explain to what we're thinking.
Individually?
Not necessarily individually, but to the whole defense. We're all one unit, so we all sit in there. We're just listening. Each week he has something new. He sits up. He kind of does some certain things routinely, make sure we write our goals down, what we want for this game, what he sees for each player this game. He takes the time out to specifically talk to each player during our defensive meeting. So, but that's the things that the little things that he does to help you build that relationship, and that to be able to play balls to the wall for a guy like that.
I mean, last year you guys brought a couple guys in off the street, and they were playing starters. They were starting.
Jihad, running Jelly.
Josh
Bynes, he came in my rookie year with me. But those and LJ Fort, those guys, without those guys, honestly, it could have been a real rough season for us.
Yeah, I mean, those quarterbacks were sitting back there for 5-6 seconds at a time, and they couldn't find a receiver, and that's with Tavon hurt for the whole year.
Yeah, we weren't filling holes, and the linebackers wasn't coming down the right way. We weren't looking like the defense we were supposed to be early, and we knew. And they did, kudos, hats off to our GM for all that. To get those type of players off the street, bring them in, and then get to be top 5 defensive still is. That's kind of.
I guess it's even more important now that you guys were able to keep him and to keep your OC as well, because nobody knows what's going to happen now, and if you're going to be able to have meetings until the season starts, and that's if the season starts on time. But there's got to be continuity there, which is a plus.
Absolutely.
Knowing who your DC is and knowing who he is, right?
Yeah, it's almost in a way picking up from last year's spot. But like you said, that continuity that means everything. Whether you get the time or you don't get the time, even if there was no pandemic and you had to start over with somebody else, because we've done that being here with I don't know how many offensive coordinators learning a new offense every year. So just to have that for 2 years, I'm honestly trying to think of
the last time
we've
3 in a row.
had
I don't know.
3 years of one since I've been here at least. Pease has been my coordinator for a while, and then Wink the last 2-3 years. So
I think Wink's happy too with his job and his role, right?
Yeah.
With his age and his family.
I mean, I personally think that he has bigger dreams, to be honest. I mean, who doesn't,
Yeah, of course.
All the coordinators, their next step is to be a head coach, and I think he'll be a heck of a head coach. I think he'll be one of those players head coach, and obviously people have heard the rumor, but he definitely is one of the brothers of the Rex Ryan, but he's one of that.
He's not going to just take a job, though. It's got to be a good fit. He's not going to go to a terrible organization.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. Defensive-minded coaches think that they can, bring a pack of defense and change the
You think they go defense in the draft?
Us?
Yeah. You like these kids are talking about Murray and Queen? They don't stick out to me.
Well, and I haven't even really been into the draft lately, but I've been watching this one particularly because they talked about, I want to say it's Queen.
Yeah, from LSU.
From LSU that he's barely played, but they talk about him like he's off the charts. So it's like, yeah, we need we need to get some linebackers. So do you go for a guy? I don't know how you even scout like that, like how you begin. So it's like you see he's obviously a freak. He's out there balling, can run sideline to sideline. That's the thing you want to have on your squad. And it's like, but he only has 14 games and
as a starter,
yeah. So I don't know how those talent scouts figure that one out, but both of those linebackers from Oklahoma and LSU look good on film.
I feel like with everybody not being in a room and communicating as easily, it just sets itself up for Eric to totally fleece somebody this year.
Who?
Eric DaCosta.
To do what?
Totally fleece somebody. Somebody's gonna get desperate. They can't get through on the phone, or the email didn't go through because
you're talking about for the draft.
For the draft, yeah.
Something's gonna happen. I remember what it did first time, but I don't know. I think we might get a freaking offensive guard, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's just something the Ravens would do.
The thing is, where you guys are in the draft because of the season you had. Traditionally, that's where you get an elite tight end or an elite guard. Mm-hmm. You don't really get a position player there unless you move up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see what they do.
Well, they had so many receivers. They said that was supposed to get drafted this year.
Yeah, they said it's the best receiving class in 30 years.
That's unbelievable. So I mean, if we can get some talent, and what I've read from the Ravens is, we believe we can get a lot of talent in the later rounds, and we got a few rounds, 4 or 5 picks in the early rounds. So I think that it's going to be a great draft for us.
It will be. You're not big on social media, so I think
I'm trying.
You're kind of misunderstood by the fans because they see your demeanor on the field and they think that's how you are off the field. Me, having known you for almost probably 10 years now, you're totally the opposite off the field than you are on. You're so much more laid back, very charismatic. Of course, anybody who's ever seen you at the restaurant or at the golf tournament or, one of our charity events knows that. But then they see the dog on the field, yelling from the time the game ends. The time the game starts to the time the game ends, and fighting with the receivers.
Wow.
It's a totally different guy, and you don't advertise the things that you do, the father you are, the charities you're involved with, and I think that it causes Ravens fans, and Ravens fans are very spoiled, by the way, to kind of take you for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And then when all of a sudden you re-sign the deal this year, everybody's like, oh, yeah, I love Jimmy Smith. Yeah. The facts are the facts. You're one of the 2 best corners in the history of the entire Ravens franchise. You and C-Mac. So, I've talked about this with you, and I know your reaction. So I want to see, your face light up. How big of a deal would it be for you after you get that second Super Bowl ring to go into the Ring of Honor?
It'd be the highlight of my career, obviously. I don't have the other achievements to my name, but so to have that one, honestly, it would mean more than the other achievements to be a part of that, be a part of Ravens history forever. come in and see my name on that would be unbelievable.
Why do you always stay in Baltimore during the off season?
I had a
You're
son.
from the West Coast,
Yeah,
for those who don't know.
Yeah.
So it's very nice out there. The weather's very nice, especially when the season ends in January or February.
Yeah.
But you always stay here.
Yeah, every off season here working out. I mean, I live here, and when I first moved over here, I did decide to go back to California for the off season, and it was just why, like I moved. I've done it a couple of times actually, but eventually I just ended up staying here, getting to know the city, being around, and I felt more comfortable staying here. And then the training, and then also I have a son in New Jersey, so I'd be around for him as much as I can. So I just kind of nestled in and just made it my home instead of thinking about going every off season to go back to Cali and enjoy some weather, I guess.
You talked about the city. How important, a lot of times when you're on the field, you don't see this. How important was the success you guys had on the field, and Lamar being the new face of the franchise was for the city? How important was it for, kids in Baltimore to say, I have a new role model, and it's Lamar Jackson, who looks a lot different from, Cal Ripken and guys that we've Joe Flacco and guys like that in the past.
For a place like this, and just being honest, like when California, it's very, it's different out there. It's multicultural. Then I went to Colorado, it's a lot whiter. And then I came out here and it was like, whoa, they got chocolate in the city, so a lot more chocolate. So I think, and what I mean by that is just like, even me, it was like, oh, I haven't been around in a culture like this. But I think that the fact that our quarterback, looks like the kids, and they can see that, and they can, hey, I can relate to that. As somebody that looks like me, or you know what I mean? They strive to be something like that, and they're going to hang on to the things that Lamar says, and he'll realize it the more older he gets, but everything he does, they're watching now, because now they see that I can try to achieve to be what Lamar Jackson is. And the fact that he came in young, with the personality that everybody loves, not a cocky guy, very confident, but not cocky at all. Everybody could talk to him, but came and just brought that type of juice to the city, brought some more excitement to watching Ravens football. And it's always been defense. And defense, honestly, if the defense is doing great, it's boring to watch. So football could have got a little bit of boring for the Ravens for a while. So for this guy to be inserted and then bring so much success so fast and in the style he's doing it, I think it's just amazing to watch. That's why he's taking over everything right now. And
Torrey talked about this too. The cool thing is that the Ravens franchise is letting him be who he is. They're not trying to put like a certain title on him.
They don't do that with anybody. That's the first thing everybody thinks, like, oh, they got this player. The Ravens locker room is about to, like, rustle him up. No. Everybody that comes in our locker room, like, we treat them like a man. Like, we know who you are. Treat us with respect, but treat you with respect, and we'll move on like that. And everybody who's ever had a bad red flag or whatever comes into the locker room, I didn't get treated like that with Ray. When I came in, Ed, they didn't come, hey, I need to get you under. Like, nah, it was... Do what you gotta do.
That's a media creation.
Yeah,
so now the guy that they're pointing at, like, oh, they have Calais Campbell now, so they can bring Antonio Brown in.
No, I don't think it's like that. I think if you got a bad egg, you just got a bad egg. Get the bad egg out, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if Antonio Brown did come, there would be no issues probably.
I don't see why it would. He wants the ball. He wants to win. Get him on the ball. He's great. Let him play.
The thing that I like about the fit here is, and Rob Long talked about this, for the first time as a professional athlete, he'll be like the big brother. He'll be the vet, and he'll have his little cousin to look out for. Lamar's already looking up to him and working out with him. So I think that would like mean something to him, right?
I would hope so. I mean, he does have, like you said, his cousins who not a lot of family members get to play with their other family member in the league. Especially, it's a unique feeling.
Any league.
I played with my best friend from high school, Sharice Wright, several years ago, and that's not my brother, but it's still, you get that feeling. So I feel like for him, it should be, he gets to teach his little cousin every day in, day out, what it's like to reach the level that he's reached. You know what I mean? But the whole prima donna stuff with him and all that, like, he's a great receiver, so that comes with it.
And he'll get to play the Steelers twice a year.
Oh, that would be nasty for him.
Yeah.
I think that in our locker room, we would accept who he is. We have bold personalities in our locker room. You know what I mean? Like, Marcus Peters is a very bold personality. Earl could be bold. You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes have these personalities, but it doesn't come out because we don't. It's not like.
I think Harv does a good job too.
Absolutely. I mean,
you don't stick around as long as he has without treating men like men.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that every player that I've ever spoken to from the team has loved about Harbs is he treats me like a man. I know where I stand with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to like the importance of us to the city, did you guys see it like from the field? Because you've been on good teams, you've been on the Super Bowl championship team, but it was different this year, in my opinion, especially as a business owner, because people were so much more energized at the style of play, number one. But number two, it felt like ever since, the unrest, the people were, and then, the kneeling, and people were just like hesitant to get back into football. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, maybe they're not so bad anyway. I think I'll go back. Like, this is the year that everybody came back, right? What
year was that, 2017 we did that?
Yeah.
It had to be done at the time it had to be done. Leave it in the past. But yeah, Lamar brought everybody back.
Everybody came back for one player this year. And the other thing is, like you said, football can be boring when you have a great defense. So even when you guys were 9-7, 10-6, 11-5 under Joe, people were wearing a kicker's jersey.
Yeah.
And now
a guard's jersey.
Everybody in the country is wearing Lamar's jersey. And us being from Baltimore, we always play the underdog role, and we're always David to Goliath in our minds. And to have everybody in the country universally loving this quarterback and our guy, we kind of didn't know how to act this year, right?
Yeah. I mean, people were setting up Super Bowl tents right after we blew out the Texans. It was almost to the point where it got towards the end of the season. It was just Super Bowl or bust, There was that much pressure. But
people forget that going into the season, you guys weren't even supposed to win the division.
I know. I remember seeing that. I don't think anybody's seen 14-2 coming at all.
Nobody did.
Nobody.
Nah. I think that the front office will probably never admit this, but they were probably looking at this upcoming season as the season where, all right, now we can play.
Yeah.
Well, so you guys were kind of a year ahead of schedule, in my opinion. So we'll see.
Lamar just took it off that quickly.
Would it mean a lot to you to retire the team? One team?
Yeah, I mean, it was always a goal. It was always a goal. Even through free agency, it was a goal. After the first week passed, and I realized, okay, that's the money I wanted is not going to be there. Mm-hmm. And then the second week, I'm like, okay, now I'm into I need to find where I'm going to be. Stop trying to, I guess, put a certain price out there and see what teams are thinking. Because obviously, I haven't gotten any hits, gotten no calls that I think I was going to get. But I'm happy that I was patient enough and the Ravens came back and whatever they did on their end to make a little bit more room and get me in. Mm-hmm. And, it worked out perfectly. I mean, I didn't want to be anywhere else. I can't wait to retire here. I don't want to put on a jersey for anybody else.
You want to coach here?
No, I'm not the coach type.
You want to be like Jamal, or you just do appearances for the team?
I mean, I'll be around the city. I'm going to always keep a place here. But I'll come back and do more community stuff.
Come back
again. It's I don't post anything. I'm not doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if I'll do it through you, so you can find out. But
the image that everybody has of you, legacy wise, right now is the last pass that the 49ers threw in the Super Bowl against Crabtree. So that's a great one to have.
Yeah.
What I remember is we went up to New York for a game and you shut down Odell. This is like peak Odell in the first half, a game up there. You got hurt, and of course, that's the knock on you, is that you're injury prone. Second half, he came out and lit them up, and they won the game, they being the Giants. Mm-hmm. And that right there, that's the eye test, that you are extremely important to the team. And I could have pulled up all the numbers in the world when I found out that you were coming today to prove that, you are very important to the team. I could have gotten a quote from Wink, but the eye test is there. And I think the swagger difference is definitely there, right? When you're on the field, and you can toot your own horn a little bit here, but it's just like night and day. The Ravens defense, even like the biggest Jimmy Smith hater has to admit that it's a different team with you on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would agree with that, especially when we had me, Marcus, and Marlon out there at once. I mean, that does look a little different when they're in your face pressing you every play. So I would agree. I mean, most of the stuff I always hear, even like Odell Beckham, like everybody thinks I'm like the 6'5" linebacker out here playing corner. So I do get the eye test as far as that,
How'd you feel when they drafted Marlon? That was when you were in your prime.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, at first, you always know when you get somebody at that caliber, eventually your time is going to be coming. So I knew that, but we had, this was like my third year or into my 3rd year of my contract or whatever. So I was kind of at first like, well, we thought everybody in the world thought when we drafted Marlon we needed offensive player, and we ended up going.
I think a lot of the Ravens fans wanted OJ Howard. Who?
Yeah, we thought we was going to get a offensive player, and I kind of thought that too because obviously we kind of didn't perform that well on offense. So when we got him, it was more like a shock. Like, why are we going corner? We need to get But he ended up being a great dude, great teammate, freaking stud. Like, can't wait to watch his career. I'm sure he's going to be a perennial All-Pro player.
He is a complete opposite off the field than he is on the field. Like, I've never seen such a contrast.
Yeah, he's goofy.
Yeah,
he's goofy. He's a true child. He's a kid still.
Yeah.
He loved to be around. Like I tell you, he loved to be around the dude. He's always learning, always trying to get better. You know what I mean? He's a team player for everybody and very religious in his ways. So, it's just a great dude to be around.
I think they tried to trade up to get Lattimore that year, and then they ended up getting stuck, quote unquote, with him. But I think that worked out to say the least.
Yeah, it's actually my barber's first cousin.
Really?
Yeah.
How's his career? I mean, I don't really follow the Saints. Better or worse?
I know he did well his first year. I didn't really watch too much more of it, but I know he did well his first year. The second year, they didn't really talk too much more about him, but I know he's still locking up all the first receivers, or the number 1 receiver, so he's doing his job.
I think he's number 11 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marlon's, he's a nice little consolation prize for sure.
Who?
Marlon.
Oh, yeah. He's a ball.
He's all-pro, right? First team?
All-pro first team. He balled this year. Like, he did an amazing job, though. And the fact that he scooted in to play nickel at that size.
Yeah, and now you guys get Tavon back.
He didn't really know anything, but he learned it. You know what I mean? And that's not easy. That's not easy playing.
Good tackler.
Nickel. Yeah, he's linebacker mentality.
Yeah, and now you guys get Tavon back.
So, yeah, we're going to be flexible. Very flexible.
Yeah, it'll be a fun year. Hopefully there's something. I think no matter what, the season's going off. I just don't know how many fans will be in the stands.
There's no question. It's going to go off somehow, some way. Maybe miss a few games, but it's going to happen.
I don't think they miss any. Maybe you missed the preseason. Yeah, that regular season's going off.
They're already trying to open up the world.
Yeah, they make 75% of their money, I read, on TV anyways. So if you're just going to take out 70,000 people out of the stands, they're going to watch on TV.
You're going to triple on TV.
Yeah.
So they're still making your money.
That would be weird for you guys, though, right?
That would be like a glorified scrimmage with nobody there but your team yelling.
We'll just have to get all the fans outside and make some noise for y'all.
That would not be fun, to be honest.
No.
That would not be fun.
How you staying in shape now? Speaking of which, you can't be around the facility?
No, I don't. I'm not around the facility. But I had Kyle Jacoby, my trainer, for the last almost decade now.
Sweat performance.
He's been crashing in the basement and training me every day.
So you're in peak shape. I see his videos. You got to let the world. You got to let the world know. I know how.
Yeah, he gets it in. We're building up. I'm an older guy now, so I got to kind of pace myself going into this, and then the uncertainty too is like, I'm trying to not burn out and do all kinds of crazy stuff now, and then nothing really happens, and so we're just pacing ourselves right now, just making sure we're mobile and flexible and can run all day.
I heard Harb said he doesn't want any surprises when everybody shows up.
No, that's gonna be hard to do.
But I think that's more for the linemen, right?
That's gonna be hard to do for a lot of people because everybody can't run. And you heard Tom Brady got kicked out.
Yeah,
right. So Tom Brady can't go to the park and throw the football.
Yeah, I think that should be an advantage that a lot of the veteran teams are going to have over the younger teams, is that the veterans know how to get access. Yeah, whereas the younger teams, these 22, 23-year-old kids, I don't need it.
I feel like
all of a sudden you're pulling a hamstring week 1, week 2.
In my mind, I know there's going to be some guys, but I feel like most of the dudes out here know they need to be working right now. Like 420 is hit already. That's really when everything starts off for our off season. So, I feel like just naturally inside, the clock's already ticking. So, I got after it crazy today, but I guess the uncertainty just makes it feel weird.
For all of us.
Yeah. And how many bands can you do? Everybody don't have a full weight set. You can't ask your 320-pound lineman to do squat bands all day. Like, it's not going to work. So I don't know how that's going to work out. They're going to have to give us enough time to get acclimated when we even get back.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy times, and not just for you guys, obviously, but for all of us. I think the uncertainties right now is what's bothering a lot of us.
Yeah.
Even if you're able to provide for yourself, provide for your family. It's just not knowing when the other shoe's going to drop or what the new normal is going to be. If you're going to have a summer vacation,
the new normal might be that mask for a while. Because I mean, my thing is like, we're flattening the curve right now, but how many, like, as soon as we get back to, all right, world, it's time to go. Everybody goes outside. Now, is it not just going to hit again hard? And we have no vaccination, so we're going to shut it down again?
The second wave can be just as bad.
Probably worse.
Yeah, and it's happened historically, so.
Especially now that you've trapped everybody at home, and the first thing they're thinking is, I can't wait to get out and party.
Yeah. Summertime, too.
Right.
So you see a place like Secrets, for example.
If they let open today, right now, all of Baltimore would be outside right now if they let it open. And drinking and partying and having a good time, obviously, just to be out for one day, and that one day could cause us how many setbacks on the future.
Like a couple business owners hit me up and they wanted me to go march with them in Annapolis. I was like, nah, man, I'm good.
I'm going to stay over here. I understand your pain, though. Yeah. But it is, like, it's easier for, like you said, it's easier to say me sitting on this side because obviously I can provide and take care of my family. And it's harder for, like my brothers and sisters that actually got laid off and trying to figure out what's the next thing, Everybody's family don't have a Jimmy Smith in it or something like that. Right. So it's that part is tough. And you do want to open up the world, but it's like kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Talk about your family. Your dad's the man. I mean,
my dad's crazy.
let the people know, about your upbringing, the dynamic, your brother.
Long story, but I'll make it short. I'm one of 11 children, of the kids, 7 biologically though, but middle child.
So the other 4?
4. I have there's 8 boys, 3 girls total, including me. So my mom had 3 boys, and then met my dad, and then had me, 2 sisters, and a little brother. So she has 7 total kids from her. My dad had 2 sons, met my mom, and had 4 kids with her, obviously.
So 11 in one house.
6. Well, then my dad's first 2 kids has 2 brothers and sisters.
So how many in the house?
In my house growing up, there was 5. My brother Anthony, which you've met, me, 2 sisters.
Your brother, the chef.
Yeah. He'd been whipping it up for me for years till he moved to Vegas. But so yeah, I mean, broke. We were poor growing up.
Colorado?
No,
California.
You always think up in Colorado. I'm from San Bernardino, California.
The wedding would have been in Colorado.
Telluride. It's different.
Part. So now what?
Now we're
postponed.
Yeah,
same.
I think we're gonna. Well, they said that we can keep it on. It just could only be 50 people. And that's like,
no.
That just covers my family members and my 2 brothers' kids.
So California.
Yeah, I grew up there. Neighborhood, grew up in the hood or ghetto, whatever you want to call it. Didn't have a lot of money, but didn't really seem like that growing up for whatever reason.
That's parenting.
You know what I mean? They always made it. My mom always made sure that she did a great job and getting us whatever we needed. Shoes-wise, clothes-wise, and all that type of stuff, and fed every day. She worked at nights, so me and my sister took care of the house at night. But pretty much did that. When I was 13, I ended up moving and living with my brother, and he was into football, and he's kind of the reason I ended up playing football in the first place. I always wanted to play basketball, but he made me make a deal. So what happened, I ended up moving to Oklahoma, to start school.
At 13?
Yeah. Well, not to start school, to finish my 8th grade year. Okay. Because I had moved in the middle of the year, something that happened in my family. It was pretty serious that happened, and the kids, we had to separate for a minute. And so we ended up moving, all the kids ended up moving to Oklahoma, tried to get in school. They wouldn't let us in school. They froze my grades. So when I got back to California, they're like, well, you didn't finish 8th grade. You got to start all over. So I was devastated. But anyway, I ended up starting high school there, play football. My brother gave me an ultimatum. You either get straight A's or you play football. Because I didn't really want to play football. And I was kind of nervous about it. When I seen how physical it was, I played basketball at this point. So I'm I don't know about this. And then the first tackle I ever had, I got a stinger. So I thought I broke my shoulder. I'm like, this is not for me. But, they just always trained hard. My brothers always trained me. So, he had me all through high school. We lived with my mom again and all that. And, we pretty much had a good little childhood. And it wasn't nothing crazy. We struggled at times like most families do, but You know, we always made it out on top.
Did you have a lot of college offers or no?
I had everybody in the Western Athletic Conference. I had a couple of Pac-10s, but I had these two guys on my team, Sharice, right now in Bradford, who were like, they were nice in high school. So they had every Pac-10 scholarship. So I kind of like, some teams see me from there, but I ended up committing to Washington State just because I was tired of doing the recruiting process, honestly. It was too much. And I was like, you know what, I'll just go up here. They want me for defense.
Nobody East Coast reached out?
Nobody. I think the furthest was Nebraska.
Wow.
Or Colorado. That's it.
So then you picked Colorado.
I picked Washington State. I decommitted. And I went to Colorado. So what happened was I loved Boise State. Fell in love with Boise State. Loved the coaches and all that. And they were like on me earlier, right? And they sent me my scholarship, and that meant something to me at the time. They sent me an offer with deer beans. And I was like, that's cool, man. They like took the time out. So I really like kind of made that connection with them, had a great time. Went up there, Orlando Scandrick was my host up there. So I had like a really good time up there. And then wanted to commit, but I was just like, you guys are too small of a school. I want to win a championship. So that same head coach ends up getting the job, not even like a month later, to Colorado. So he offers me at Colorado, and after I already committed to Washington State, and he was like, yo, just take your last trip. And then my brother Ryan was like, dog, because I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not flying. I don't want to talk to no more coaches. He was like, dog, just please, like, take this one last trip. Went up there and had an okay time. Like, it wasn't the best. It was beautiful, but it wasn't the best. It was whatever. But the coach was like, yo, we're gonna win a natty. And I'm just like, let's do it, you know? So I ended up committing up there. It was the best decision.
That's good. It's funny, it always takes like one thing that sticks out in your mind. Like you said, having your nickname on the letter instead of your formal name. It can go the other way too, though. My buddy Malcolm, he ended up going to Virginia Tech for basketball because he said both times that he met Gary Williams at University of Maryland, he told him the same story. He's like, this guy don't even remember me being here. I'm not going here.
That does happen.
Yeah.
You feel some type of way, like, man, you don't really even know who I am.
Yeah, and then you wonder if they're telling the same story to everybody, right?
Yeah, you can get like that. Coach Hawk actually came to my house, though. So, I mean, he did a number of things, but he came to my house, like, our little duplex, and talked to my mom on the couch and, like, really had her believing. Like, my mom was like, yo, you got to go take this trip, too. So I ended up taking that.
Where's he at now?
UC Davis is his alma mater, so he's down there.
That's good. You stay in touch?
He's actually my college roommate is his DB coach now. Wow. So yeah, we stay in touch. I stay in touch with a lot of people from Colorado, actually.
That's good. And now you're here, and Super Bowl champ, hopefully 2-time. So
it's coming.
We appreciate your time. I don't want to throw you out of here, but I think we're coming up on time. Ernest Biner's in the Ring of Honor, dude. I mean, you got to get in there. You started your career with the team, first round pick. UNC Mac are without a doubt the top 2 corners in team history. You have a ring. You're a reason why they got the ring. Number 1 corner for a majority of your career. I think, like, if you had, I hate to say this, I feel like if you had social media, you'd be a surefire pick so people can see the kind of work that you put in. But because they don't, it's like fringe. Well, when the next time your deal's up, you're gonna be like, "Look, I'll give you another hometown. I'll give you a hometown discount, but my name's gonna be up there.
Yeah,
I'll be your agent for the next deal."
Social media is that important? You think? I mean, I could start one. It's just I like the fact that you can talk to people, but I'm too like aggressive or like don't write me things that will make me feel some way,
right?
That make me want to say, you know what I mean? Because I'm not that guy that you're just gonna say anything to. So that to me is the reason I didn't do the social media. I like posting the pictures, but I don't like the trolls. And for me, it's like, why?
Hit that block, bro.
Yeah, I just don't even have to do it at all. I don't miss it. There's nothing on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really... But I understand for the fans.
Yeah.
And I have a Facebook fan page, but I'm not like... I was never the person taking selfies enough, and nobody works for me that does it. So it kind of just died. It's like...
So you're hiring. So if you're out there and you want to run the social media for him...
Somebody want to do my marketing.
Let them know. Well, thanks for coming. Look forward to the season, of course. Thank you for always being there for my family personally, and the Jimmy's brand and everything you do for my staff. I know they always love when you show up because you're one of the best 5 tippers ever, probably. So, thank you, and thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it. And good luck this season.
Appreciate you,
we'll be in touch plenty more before then.
Most definitely. Appreciate having me on there today, man.
Thanks for tuning in. And, of course, big thanks to the man behind the camera, Dimitri. He said he owes you money for a transmission?
Yeah. Yes. He blew out my Hellcat transmission after, not even 2 months of having it. Brand new, off the lot.
We'll have to take it out of his pay and get it to you.
They fixed it for free, though. You did.
All right, yo. Thanks. See y'all next time.